This is Teach Your Way with BenQ, where educators find ideas that work. Let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the newest episode of Teach Your Way with BenQ. I'm Carly, and this is Katy, and we're part of the Marcom team here at BenQ North America in the education vertical. And today, we're going to have a great conversation with our friend, Angela Dressander, and she is the Instructional Technology Coordinator. Wanted to make sure I got that right, Angie, with Forest Hills Public School up in Michigan. She is one of our BenQ rock stars, an ambassador, all that kind of good stuff with us. And she's hot off the heels of presenting at FETC, and she's part of the McCall. Are you the new president, or is it still interim president?
I will be. Yep, I'll be president after this conference. So
okay. So she's really big up in all things school, Michigan. And so we're really excited to have her as our guest today on the podcast. So our topic for today, for everyone who's joining us, this is not one where you have to have your board. This is just going to be a conversation. We're going to talk about how districts can choose technology that supports both today's classrooms and tomorrow's possibilities of what might be next as far as for teaching hardware and teaching software in the classroom. So to kind of kick us off, I'm going to turn things over to Katy to get us started on our first topic.
Hey, Angie. So my first question, just to kick off the conversation, is from your experience and perspective, why is long-term thinking so important when selecting classroom hardware?
So as many of you might know, we started 2 years ago with this process, maybe 3 years. And we've been going really, really slow and really putting the teachers at the center and trying to figure out what's going to be best for them, not today, but for the future. And so what can they do today that they're going to be able to do again in 7 years, walk into their classroom and be able to do the same thing. And so that's been really on our minds as we've made these decisions.
That's wonderful to hear. So have you seen, or do you have experience from either the district you're at now or a previous district, when districts plan only for immediate needs? Where does that leave districts when it comes to year 3 of a new piece of hardware?
So when we plan for our just immediate needs, right, it's going to be great for that first year or maybe year or two. But then when things are not working or things evolve and change, it becomes just another thing in that classroom, and it's not helping that teacher. It's just kind of just there. We have some things in our own district right now that we've had to take out because it's just not something that's compatible with what we're using. And of course, classrooms are always changing. So it's just kind of, we got to look to the future, not just today, but 7 years or so from now.
And with that being said, how do, or I guess more like, what changes in classrooms do you try to anticipate?
Yeah, so teaching and learning, of course, is always changing, always evolving. And so we want to see what teachers are needing. And, you know, we're noticing a lot more of collaboration. That's kind of the thing that we're noticing. And so obviously, BenQ boards are great for that because they can pull those around, they can move them, kids can cast to them, and we have a lot of collaboration happening. But I'm also noticing in our classrooms just the learning. Kids are excited. They're playing around with the boards. They're interacting with it. And I think that that's a great thing to see in classrooms because that's what we see out in the world, right? We're collaborating, we're talking, we're working together. And so I think that's a big change that we're seeing.
That's wonderful. Again, so what do you think makes hardware future ready?
That's a very good question. So for us, when we're evaluating hardware and things like that, it needs to be easy for all types of teachers. We have teachers of all ages and all experiences. So we need to make sure that it's adaptable for all teachers. And then, of course, we want to make sure it's compatible with the other things that we have, the laptops we're using, the Chromebooks, the document cameras, and then also kind of a central space to update because there's always updates. So having that central spot that we can just quick send out an update is awesome. And then, of course, reliable and always adapting is helpful as well. So it's not just going to stay the same way, that the company itself is adapting as well.
All right. In that case, what kind of characteristics are you looking for when you're thinking about getting hardwares that are adaptable over time?
So a lot of what we just said, you know, it's got to be compatible with all of our stuff. Teachers need to be able to use it quickly and efficiently and not have to worry about a lot of training. I mean, we provide quite a bit, but that they can kind of have that little bit and feel comfortable going with it. Customer support is huge, and having that be able to be at the forefront if there's an issue having that customer support, which of course BenQ does an amazing job of.
Oh, well, wonderful. Well, we love hearing that. I know our engineering team works very, very hard to make sure they take care of all of our clients and keep them successful in what they're doing. So how do you evaluate whether a device or you kind of already answered this, I think, more than anything else. But when you guys were looking at interactive whiteboards, what kind of spoke to you differently about the BenQ board than some of the other ones I know you guys looked at?
So, of course, we made it very intentional to have teachers involved in the process. We are kind of a larger district, and so, at least larger for Michigan, having the teachers involved was big, because then we get the buy-in from them as well. So we put a lot of boards in front of them, and immediately they were like, this one doesn't fit my needs. This one doesn't fit our needs either. And we are a Google Workspace school, and so the Google certification is awesome. Teachers are very comfortable just swiping their card and having all their Google things right there. And so that comfortability is really helpful in our decision making too. And they were like, the security of this board is great. Having my card, I can go anywhere in the district. It felt safe for them. It felt easy for them. It felt intuitive to them. And so that was the best feedback we could get. And then, of course, we were surveying them throughout. We've been supporting them. BenQ's been supporting them, bringing in different trainers to help out. So I think that they all feel very comfortable, and we can see that that's going to be a great long-term fit for us.
All right. With all that said, what role does software compatibility play in your decision-making?
Well, I think that that's huge, because they need to be able to do the things they need to do. So Google working with the boards is helpful, because they do a lot in slides, they do a lot in docs. They're just in Google all the time. So that compatibility is helpful. And even just other apps that are on there that are helpful for our teachers, like Canva, CarePod, Kahoot, all those different things is very helpful.
So let's talk future forward. Let's talk about planning smart technology investments. Let's talk about how does that currently look for your district, and what things do you see on the horizon that you have to start kind of thinking about now, or you thought about before you guys bought a large purchase like hardware for the classrooms?
So again, we kind of went slow in the beginning in order to kind of go fast as we're moving ahead. So now that we have most of the district outfitted with interactive flat panels, now we're starting to look at laptops for the teachers. We're upgrading those laptops. So we're looking at what's compatible, what's going to work together, what's going to be helpful for the teachers, because we do have a lot of teachers who like to mirror their laptops. And so we want to make sure that that's still a possibility for them. And again, what other training and support can we provide is always helpful.
I'm also curious, how do you align classroom needs with long-term tech planning?
So we survey our teachers a lot as far as what they're feeling they need. And then we, in the technology department, also work with the instruction department and kind of talk through different things. Kind of instruction started our process of looking at interactive flat panels. They were noticing our projectors are timing out, let's say, or outlet or not living as long as they should be. And so it was just time to adapt. And so we kind of had that conversation with our instruction department and started working through that. So involving other entities, I guess, instruction, teachers, and helping making those decisions on what's going to be best for them and their teaching. And as we prepare students for the future, how are we making those dynamic learning spaces for them with the technology and hardware that we have available?
How does the BenQ boards that you guys have, like you said, installed in most of your district at this point, how do they fit when you are looking for displays to meet teacher needs for the next 5 years? And I know that Forest Hills has a very good relationship with BenQ, which is part of the reason why Angie's one of our ambassadors. I know you guys have had a couple little, like every new product installation goes, some little foot faults. What do you feel like is a differentiator with how BenQ's been helping you with that? And where do you see things in the next 5 years for possible additional pieces of technology resource, whether it's hardware or different apps? How are y'all planning to tackle AI? What are your thoughts on all of those things?
So I can't say it enough. BenQ is above and beyond great customer support. When we've had those snafus, I can text Sheldon or Nick or anyone, and probably within 5 to 10 minutes, I have an answer. Or kind of our first initial snafu last year, I had a team here within a couple of hours, and then another one in from out of state the next day, helping us solve that. And it was a quick fix, and it was amazing. So I can't say enough about the team at BenQ and their service and what they provide. And also, if I have questions on new apps or things like that, I can reach out to Nick or Dave and Lauren and have them share with me what's new, how I can use this, how I can show my teachers this. And I think that that's awesome. I think that's helping us prepare for the future. I know BenQ is always changing and adding things. And so being able to support teachers with that and show them, hey, we've got this new thing, we can work through that. We're working on some different levels of training with our teachers. So we're giving kind of that basic. And then as they become a little bit more familiar, we're adding new things because, of course, we know the board can do a ton. And at trainings, a lot of times I get the big eyes like, oh my gosh, that's so much. You've overwhelmed me. So, I'm trying to give them a little bit more, and they're realizing, wow, this can do this. Wow, that can do that. And it's transforming their classrooms, and it's transforming their learning, the kids' learning. I have teachers giving me feedback like, I'm enjoying teaching again. This is helping me reach my students a little bit more. And the classroom is a little bit more fun now too. So I think that that's awesome too.
I would agree. And I think that that's also part of it is like when teachers find a way to still be passionate about something they've been doing for even in our jobs, like finding passion in what we're doing is part of the reason why a lot of us stick around. And a lot of teachers that we've talked to over the years have been like, oh, another piece of hardware that I have to learn a different way of doing things. I think what you very eloquently, when you guys were presenting at FETC with us and everything else, have been able to say is that it meets teachers where they're at, and it allows them to continue teaching the way they are. And when they're comfortable, they can expand upon it. Maybe there's some different apps. And with more and more stuff coming with AI, again, the districts all have their own policies and stuff like that, but it gives them more flexibility to be able to do those type of things if they want to, without being tied into like one ecosystem. And that's, like I said, a lot of people have made that comment that that's one of the things that really like drove home for them. Their decision-making process with the BenQ is the adaptability, I guess would be the way. Teachers are adapting to such changing environments in the classroom and how kids are behaving and how kids are learning, and being able to connect with them, get them to collaborate, be part of the lesson, be part of what they're learning is really important. And I think that you guys have done a great job with it there at Forest Hills. So
thank you. I realized I forgot to answer about AI. I know you asked about that. I totally forgot about that. So we do have policy here in the district on AI, and we actually have kind of a director of AI and innovation. And so he and I have been working together on some different things for teachers. We're kind of doing the same thing like we did with the boards. We're going slow to go fast. So we're kind of trying to build that foundation and helping teachers understand how to use AI. So the new AI features on the board, we've been playing around with a little bit and showing teachers how they can use them. And I'm sure that those are going to continue to change and adapt and probably get more. And that's great. So that's kind of where we're at with AI in our district.
that's wonderful. Because I know that's like, the last couple of education conferences we've been at, that's been the whole conversation. And I think it's because there's so many unanswered questions. And that's really where, like, as we're going into wrap up here, like, if a district is selecting classroom technology and hardware right now, what do you think is the one thing they should prioritize to make sure it lasts, or at least make sure it meets their needs for, like you said, 5 to 7 years? Because that's what a lot of schools are holding onto the hardware for. It's expensive.
Yep. And it's kind of that cycle, we go through a 5 to 7 year cycle with different things. And that's just the way kind of like bond money is and things like that. So got to make sure it's going to meet our needs for all of those years.
So what would you think would be the one priority that they need to focus on when they start thinking about, if like another district is thinking about new tech, what is the one thing you should think they should prioritize to make sure they get it right and that it's a good investment for the district?
I think that they need to make sure that it's going to meet the needs of all their teachers in all their classrooms. And it's going to be something that they can evolve with. So that it's, like I said in the beginning, I can go in and use it today, and then I can go in 7 years and do the same thing or even better and still be able to use that tool and it being relevant in the classroom.
Wonderful. Did you have anything else, Katy?
Nope, I think you answered everything we have.
Well, just in closing, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on the podcast. I definitively want to thank Angela Dressander, or Angie as we call her, because she's awesome. It's always a pleasure working with our BenQ brand ambassadors or our BenQ board ambassadors, I should say. And I want to thank Katy for joining me on the podcast. Just to wrap things up, I just want to say, like, the best technology investments are the ones that grow with teaching and learning, which is what everybody's trying to do. It's so hard right now to keep up with what is evolving, whether it's because of AI or because of the way students are interacting with technology more and more every single day. They've got a computer in their pocket, which was not the case 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. And so this is a very hard part of teaching, making sure that it meets all the needs, as you mentioned earlier, Angie. So thank you guys so much for your insights and for joining us on the podcast today. As we mentioned at the top of the podcast, this is Teach Your Way with BenQ. I'm Carly, and this is Katy. And we want to thank again our guest, Miss Angela Dressander from Forest Hills Public Schools up in Michigan. As we wrap things up, just want to say if you enjoyed this episode and found value in it, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is where most of this is going to be, or to our audio channels on any of your favorite streaming platforms. Additionally, if you want to get one of these boards and put them in your hands or bring somebody out to come say hi and let you see what Angie and Forest Hills has found, and a lot of our clients have, don't hesitate to click the link in the description, and we would be happy to arrange to have one of our BenQ vans come out and come see you with the board. Thank you guys again so much, and we will be back with our next episode soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for joining us on Teach Your Way with BenQ. For more resources and teaching inspiration, visit us online at benqboard.com. Don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode.